morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are coming at you live from our studio here in Long Beach, California, just down the street from our manufacturing headquarters. My name is Michael Thomas, and on any other day, I am the head of affordability and the project manager for spaceport development around the globe. I am joined here today with a couple of my colleagues, Chris and Alex. Chris, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Michael. It's great to be back with everyone for Launch Demo number 2. My name is Chris Rolfe. I'm a senior avionics manager. We take care of anything that is electrical or electronic that's on the rocket. So if you think of computers, batteries, telemetry, sensors, cameras, as well as customized avionics that is airborne on Cosmic Girl. Also joining us today over on the sports desk is Alex.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning. My name is Alex Poveda. I am the mission design engineer here at Virgin Orbit. I design the trajectories that our rocket flies, including the trajectory that we're flying today for Flight 2 demo. Today, I'll be giving you updates from the Mission Control Center and from launch operations. Back to you, Michael.
Excellent. Well, hey, for the folks at home, we have a very exciting program for you today. But first, I must say, wherever you are, we really hope that you are staying safe and healthy. It's unfortunate that we're not able to be together for this tremendous occasion, but we're really hoping that this live stream brings you a little closer to the action.
Thanks, Michael. So we have several spacecraft on board, several payloads at the pointy end of the rocket that we'll be taking to orbit today, including CubeSats from the NASA Launch Services program that were selected using the CubeSat Launch Initiative. Most of those satellites were designed and built by students and staff at US universities right across the country, but we'll be going into more details on each of those a little later in the program. The pre-flight briefing was completed this morning, and we are go for launch. Very exciting. So we have woken up the plane, the rocket, the GSE trailers, and Alex will be giving us a little bit more of a more detailed update of that a little bit later. The weather in Mojave, as well as our space weather, is nominal for our flight today, and our updated takeoff time is approximately 10:45 a.m. Pacific, which puts our drop time at approximately 11:45 a.m. So we have a lot in store for you today. Stick with us, grab a cup of tea, and we'll be right back after this. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting very close now. We've updated our expected takeoff time, and Cosmic Girl is out there. Running quickly along the taxiway, so we're very, very close to our takeoff now.
All right, so Cosmic Girl is heading out to our drop point. So I thought it'd be a good idea to describe what our rocket's going to do once it gets to that drop point. So we're going to put a little GUI up on the screen here. So the first thing that's going to happen is you're actually going to hear Kelly yell, release, release, release. That's 3 seconds. You're going to see PST ignition. Immediately after that, only 2 seconds later, is main engine start or main engine start or MES. That will start our stage 1 burn, and we're going to start going up to space. We're going to pitch up, and then we're going to hit another milestone where we're going to reach by 5 Gs, and we don't want the payload to get more than 5 Gs, so we're going to go to our down throttle point. So that will protect us going beyond 5 Gs. I think it's about 7 seconds after that, we're going to expend all of our stage 1 propellant, and then we're going to have main engine cutoff. Now we go into a 7-second coast. The first 3 seconds gives it enough time to then safely do a stage separation, and stage 1 then will fly to the ground, and then, into the ocean. And then 4 seconds after that, we'll get second engine start, or SES-1. At this point, we're going to be in space. This will be a huge milestone. And it will also be safe to separate our fairing so that we have our payloads ready to be deployed. But not quite yet. We're going to have about a 6-minute burn from stage 2. And at 550 seconds, we're going to cut off our second engine, so sequel 1. And I'll call these out as we're flying the trajectory. At this point, we'd be officially be in orbit, and it'll be our transfer orbit. We're going to have like a 3D animation that's collecting the data. So you actually might catch a maneuver that it's going to do called our barbecue roll. It's going to pitch up to put the sun on the side of the rocket, and then we're going to slowly roll. It kind of keeps the temperatures balanced on the rocket. It's like negative hundreds of degrees on the shade side of the rocket. Then we're going to coast for about like 30 minutes. At that point, we're going to get to our apogee of our transfer orbit, and we're going to do a very, very short burn. And so we'll do an SES-2 start, so that's what would be next, and then a very short burn of about 4 seconds, and then we'll do second engine cutoff number 2. At this point, we'll be in our final orbit, which would be fantastic. We're so excited to get NASA to their payload to their orbit. And so then, of course, yes, so then that'll be followed by payload deployment. So we're very excited. We'll call this out, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit more, and definitely why we're flying it. We'll call that out to you. So thank you, and we're looking forward to this happening soon.
Our base copies, turn inbound.
See, this is LD on control room. Based on rocket's disposition, I'm going to go ahead and disable that net warning.
Yep, copy all, and the rocket made a call on plane Honeywell that the rocket looks quite happy.
Yep, I concur with the assessment and just don't want the nuisance.
Warning, stripped on S1 IPS fuel and aux DP. Warning, tripped high.
Our base copies on S1 IPS MCC value.
LD in work.
S1 prop on control room, warnings are expected.
LA's rocket, warnings are expected on IPS fuel DP and aux DP.
Newton
Okay,
3
proceed.
engine chill.
Copy that. Proceeding on the line.
LD1, LD2, this is CE on plane Honeywell. Just be advised that the rocket is go, and the LCC for S2 locks is going to be quite fine.
Copy that. MCC is go.
Rocket, are you good for me to clear the 2 IPS warnings?
Yes. Cosmic roll orbit base comms check.
One, clear orbit base.
Newton 3, engine show blue lines met.
Orbit base, please verify S-band lock is confirmed.
Cosmic roll orbit base can confirm S-band lock.
Copy that.
Battery power is enabled.
Orbit base LE2, vehicles on internal power. Expected warnings on VCC aux.
Orbit base copies, vehicle on internal power, expected warning on us. Okay, to disable.
Warnings have been disabled.
Chain 2 power star into rocket.
Orbit base N4 chills begun. Also, aircraft S-band and AFSS confirmed go.
Orbit base copies, S-band and AFSS confirmed go, Newton 4 chilling.
Rocket, you could for me to clear the warning.
LD in work
Evaluating.
on RocketNet.
Acknowledge.
LA2, this is an expected warning on the first chill.
I think it was a P3 VE. Proceeding.
Okay, copy.
Okay to proceed on S1 PHOINJ.
Copy, P3 warning. Okay to proceed.
Stage 1 propellant tanks at full pressure.
Rocket, any issue with TOBR?
As long as it does not exceed negative 100.
Copy, negative 100.
Ignoring OPREV late manual scope warning.
Please advise it TOTBR.
Proceed.
Proceed.
Proceed on plane warnings.
Proceeding. Drop ready mode.
Please copies, drop ready.
15 seconds to full. Pulling now. Full.
Pulling.
Release.
Release, release, release.
Copy release.
Release.
Just is ignited.
Light.
MCC switched to S-band.
Confirm Newton 3 engine startup.
See, ladies and gentlemen, drop has been successful. The drop timer counted, PSTs fired, and we have stage 1 engine light. We are on our way.
Max Alpha achieved.
I just heard from GNC Max Alpha achieved, which was a very stressful part of the flight. We successfully did our pitch up. Everything is going as planned, already way further than we've gone on Flight 1. This is super exciting.
Live images that you're seeing on the right-hand side of your screen from our aft
Max Q
camera
Alpha achieved.
attached to LauncherOne, but also you'll notice in the
Alpha.
top left-hand side of our GUI, our speed map, our acceleration map, and our altitude map starting to populate.
From GNC, I heard that we passed Max Q Alpha. That is the most stressful, one of the most stressful parts structurally on the rocket. So that is a huge success. We are on our way to space.
Stage 1 burn nominal.
A propulsion reporting nominal, as planned. GNC reporting nominal. This is about a 3-minute burn. So the next major milestone that we're expecting to hear is down throttle, and then we would have main engine cut off shortly after that.
LE3, stage 1 burn.
And just incredible views.
Thanks,
of it sitting
LE3.
on stage 2 of LauncherOne. Just
Plus
incredible.
120 in the first stage. Let's get so far LE1, LE2 and pilots.
Awesome.
For those watching
Great
the
to
view
hear.
on the
Thanks for
left-hand side,
update.
you can see the fuel and the LOX
We had a
tanks
pretty awesome view up
emptying
here.
as we're throwing that stuff out the back to make the rocket go forwards.
All operators held in control room, please continue to call out major milestones as Roxa continues its path to orbit.
I just heard our pilot call out that she has a beautiful view.
AFSS is performing nominally.
Orbit base, LE was recovered, and we are now returning to base.
Orbit base copies on level, returning to base.
LauncherOne's in space.
Hold. You've proc 301.
Stage set, brake wires broken.
Orbit base copy 301.
Successful stage
Newton 3 engine
set.
shutdown confirmed.
Switching to Baja Ground Station.
We are now
We
officially
are
in
now on Baja
space.
Ground Station.
Newton 4 startup complete.
As we switch forward to our payload cameras, that was an amazing view from our aft camera there, actually seeing the curvature of the Earth. We are in space. Our payload separation. Our payload fairing separation, I should say.
Fairing, brake wires broken.
Orbit base, LE2, we are stopping ARCA recording.
Orbit base copy, stopping ARCA recording.
Cosmo Girl.
GNC reporting good
ignited,
TVC,
fairing
doing
separated.
explicit guidance as expected. So they are now targeting our transfer orbit, performing nominally as planned.
Outstanding.
Expecting a second engine
500,000
cutoff in
feet.
about 4 minutes.
Passing through 450.
As you can
Approaching
see from the GUI
500,000.
on the left, all of our ground stations are reporting
We're
as
looking at
nominal.
video
Our
images of
AFSS
space.
is also nominal. Fairing has separated, obviously. Also, bus voltages are nominal.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Sounds like the blue skies went to black.
Four minutes and 22 seconds to SECO 1. GNC is reporting out.
Just a reminder, SECO 1 is second engine cutoff.
All stations currently still having a solid lock.
You may occasionally see breaks from the video images on the right. That is totally expected at this point. Alex is also updating on the burn timer. You can see the burn timer in the bottom of the GUI on the left. While we're doing this burn here, just a shout out to our GUI team. The GUIs that you're seeing today were brought to you by our launch software team. There are several tens, maybe even 100 more of those GUI screens that are being used across the company right now. We're just showing you a select for
be advised, we're going to be quite busy
Livestream.
across 301.
They've done a phenomenal job to be bringing the telemetry from the rocket and the ground stations to all of the engineers across the company that are monitoring every 1 and 0 from the flight computer very, very closely right now.
Just under 3 minutes to SECO 1.
TVC is nominal. That's essentially the way that we steer the rocket at this point, which tells us that it's going in the right direction.
GNC reporting, everything is as expected. Attitude errors look great. Propulsion is nominal. This is fantastic.
Just a quick note, you may notice that we're speaking with relatively calm voices here, but I tell you what, the adrenaline in this room right now, I'm sure, is matching everyone's at home and everyone in the factory that's watching this.
2 minutes to SECO 1. $90 seconds to SECO. Going as planned.
90 seconds to SECO.
As you can see from the telemetry there, the second stage is almost 20,000 kilometers, sorry, 200,000 kilometers altitude.
With such a solid lock on our antennas, we probably will see the reiteration for barbecue roll. So if you happen to see the rocket do a big turn after SECO 1, it is a planned maneuver. It's part of our barbecue roll. Stage 2 burn nominal.
Traveling over 6,500 meters per second.
15 seconds.
AVSS mission rule satisfied.
Trajectory speed nominal.
SECO 1.
Go started. Barbecue roll started.
And barbecue roll has started, as you could see in the animation.
Cosmic Girls.
Congratulations to the Virgin Orbit team. This is a huge milestone. We are officially in space, and we're officially in orbit. This is our transfer orbit, and we're not done yet. We got to get to our final orbit where we're going to circularize it, and we'll put our NASA customers' spacecraft into orbit.
Copy on barbecue roll, and we're ready to fire ours up here.
You might have previously seen in the GUI that we no longer had telemetry from Long Beach or Mojave. That was as planned because we are now below the horizon from Mojave and Long Beach. Baja still has a very strong lock, allowing us to continue to get this 3D animation. But we are going to lose telemetry pretty soon as planned, so we will be, what I would say, in the dark without getting live telemetry data. In about 15 minutes, we're going to fly over O'Higgins in the South Pole. So they will not provide us live data, but they will confirm that they see us and that they're receiving data from us. So that will be a very significant update to receive. And then another 15 minutes after that, we should be flying over Mauritius. They're also not live, but they should be able to confirm that they're seeing us and receiving telemetry data. And shortly after that, we will get all that recorded data and be able to report our final orbit.
As we lose telemetry, it is as planned. Part of that telemetry is the camera feed, so we will lose the camera feed as well, but none of that data is lost. It will come back to us eventually. I just wanted to give you a quick report. Obviously, very exciting moment here in the history of our company, in the history of aerospace, in the history of rockets altogether. So we're all extremely proud and also still very excited. There is still a lot of work to do today, so we have some more content coming, but I did want to let everyone know that the chase plane reported that the release from Cosmic Girl was 100% clean. We're very happy with that. The crews of both Cosmic Girl and the chase plane are en route back to the Mojave spaceport with no anomalies. Everything there is normal and everyone is safe, so we're also super excited about that. I'm going to throw to Alex, who's going to give us a little bit of an update on the orbit.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, so just everything so very exciting. What I wanted to pass along to you guys that we got confirmation of the orbit that we're in right now. It's at 187 kilometers and 500 perigee and 500 kilometers apogee as planned. So now what the vehicle is doing is it's going to reach that 500 kilometers, and then that's where we'll do our circulation burn to then put our payloads in a 500 by 500 kilometer orbit.
I did want to take a moment to talk about an extra payload that's aboard today, and hopefully we'll be able to show some photos and videos of this. But as Michael Lynn had mentioned earlier, the Branson family lost a stalwart of their family earlier, just a few days ago. Eve Branson was obviously an inspiration to not only Richard, but for a lot of us here at Virgin Orbit and a lot of other people across the whole Virgin Group. Without her tenacity and her determination and certainly her good humor, the Virgin Group wouldn't be what it is today. And as Michael Lynn had mentioned earlier, we all enjoyed her visits here to the factory. So just as an aside to that, we added a small memento to LauncherOne that we'll bring up in just a moment. So Eve, welcome to the stars.
All right, I wanted to kind of give you just a quick update on what to expect next. So we're going to put up the ground station graphic really quick. And so what we got on there is what I had mentioned quite a bit throughout the launch was we had Mojave, Long Beach, and Baja, and those all clearly got very good telemetry. What I mentioned about 1206 was that we got confirmation of acquisition of signal at Antarctica, so that was fantastic. So the 3D animation that's on right now was indicating that we were getting close to Mauritius, and as I was talking just previously, we actually got confirmation from Mauritius that they had acquisition of signal. So that is fantastic. We should be doing that second burn. We actually won't know about the second burn until they send us the data back, so it won't be live. But the fact that we're still alive and that we were on the track that we thought we were and the timing was as expected, we're expecting to see some really good data coming back from them. So we'll keep you posted when they finish tracking and have sent us the data, and then it would be just a few more minutes to actually get the information on the orbit we're in and confirmation of payload separation. So we'll all be looking forward for that update.
Welcome back, everyone. Boy, wow, we are so excited here in the studio. So now we're going to dive a little bit more into the payloads on today's flight. And so we also have the Mighty payload, which was designed and built by the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. The Mighty program is a technology demonstration mission to prove the electrodynamics tether concept in the space environment. This capability could fundamentally transform the monitoring of natural disasters, space weather, and the broader space environment by enabling a new class of space missions. Next up, we have the PIX payload, which was designed and built by the Brigham Young University, Provo, Utah. PIX is a pair of satellites and is a technology demonstration of a spacecraft capable of performing inspection, maintenance, and assembly on another spacecraft. It's worth noting that PIX is funded by NASA's Undergraduate Student Instrumentation Project. Next up is the Polar Cube payload, which was designed and built by the University of Colorado at Boulder, Colorado. Polar Cube is a scientific investigation mission to determine the sea ice concentration and extent while collecting profile data on atmospheric temperature. Let's check out this cool video.
Until recently, when you think of putting things into space, it's multi-million-dollar projects. But instead now, because we have these smaller satellites, students, are able to actually get their hands on an actual device that'll be put into space.
This idea of a small form factor that can perform amazing things at such a small size and low cost, I definitely think it's going to start taking over the industry.
The future of space is definitely looking forward to miniaturization and then constellations and just reducing the barriers for entry into space.
There's no reason to build something the size of a truck when a CubeSat can do just as well.
So the Mighty One CubeSat is a 3U cube satellite that has a main body satellite and then a picosat attached to it. In between the two of them, after launch, these two separate satellites deploy from one another using a semi-rigid boom. From here, the purpose is to investigate electrodynamic tether applications.
We can use it to extend the life of the mission or to deorbit.
So this project was actually started with a joint effort through two of the environmental groups on our campus. A PhD student brought a payload to us, and it was our job to build a bus for it. The payload itself is a miniature radiometer, so it's using radio waves to get measurements. This specific one is using resonant frequency of oxygen to get temperature readings.
The satellite that we developed is called Passive Inspection CubeSats. There's actually two twin satellites, and they were developed at Brigham Young University. And so we had the idea to use a CubeSat that is inert, has no capability to maneuver itself, but has cameras on all sides, sort of like a VR camera, so that it could, regardless of tumble, image the spacecraft that deploys it.
We have worked on this satellite for 3 years, hands-on, honestly more than 20 or 30 hours a week, every single week. It just feels really weird. It's a bittersweet moment. However, we are so excited.
It's like the day would never come, and now that it's actually here, it's hard to realize that it's really here. It's really exciting, honestly.
I am unbelievably excited. Like I said, it's been a long time. I myself, tail end of it, but I've still been project manager for a few years now, and it's just been, we've been waiting, and so finally this is our chance to hopefully get it up there and get some data back.
Everyone on our team is feeling a mixture of anxiety and excitement. So, there's always the anxiety about the launch and the excitement to get up there, but then the real work begins. Can we talk to our satellite, and did we build it right, and is it going to work?
We are Polar Cube from the University of Colorado.
We are Mighty One from the University of Michigan.
We're PIX from Brigham Young University.
We were expecting to get loss of signal from our Mauritius ground station around 12:40 p.m. and it actually did occur at pretty much at exactly that time. So again, that's a very good indication that everything is going as planned. It's a good indication that that whole pass over Mauritius, in which we were doing the second burn, that everything's still alive and made it through the whole pass. So we are now going to be receiving data from them. So it'll be another 10 to 15 minutes to both get the data from them, and then we're going to do a quick processing of it to at least get that final orbit. So we'll give you that update as soon as we get it.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's round out and talk about the last payloads that we have on board. I want to mention QPACE, which is a CubeSat particle aggregation and collision experiment from the University of Central Florida in Orlando, Florida. That satellite is a scientific investigation mission studying how planets are formed by observing low-velocity collisions between centimeter scale and smaller particles. Next on board, we have the RAD FX-SAT-2 by Vanderbilt University out of Nashville, Tennessee. It's a technology demonstration mission to advance our understanding to the effects of space radiation on microelectronic components, something very near and dear to my heart in the avionics department. Lastly, TechEdSat-7. This is from NASA Ames Research Center out of Moffett, California, and this is a technology advancement testing a variety of concepts. One of those is the ExoBrake, a drag device that will help deorbit satellites from higher orbits in a matter of months instead of what usually takes years at the moment. There are also a couple of tracking experiments, which will permit future nanosats to be more accurately tracked. Let's keep watching a few more of these images, and we'll be right back after that.
It's cheaper to get a small satellite into orbit than to get a big satellite into orbit, and so with miniaturization of electronics over the course of the last 10 or 20 years, it's become increasingly feasible to do really interesting scientific experiments in the form factor of the so-called CubeSat.
The low cost of a CubeSat and the accessibility to space for not just us, but for educational purposes, for everybody who wants to have an opportunity to try something out in space, it can't be beat, really.
With CubeSats, you see a lot of universities, even high schools, being able to dip their feet into that kind of field and get to experiment with it. So it's a big industrial revolution, and I think that it's giving a lot of people experience before they would traditionally have that opportunity.
I'm the principal investigator of the QPACE mission, and that stands for the CubeSat Particle Aggregation and Collision Experiment. It's a satellite that's carrying a microgravity experiment that explores the gentle collisions between small particles that are the very first steps of the formation of planets, and they're also similar to the kinds of collisions that occur in planetary ring systems.
The name of the satellite we have here today is RADFXSat, and the RADFX stands for radiation effects, which relates to the experiment that is being flown on it by Vanderbilt University. We built our satellites in our terms. This is called Fox 1E, so you may hear that as well. But it's the fifth of a series of satellites that we have built that have been built to incorporate STEM experiments from various universities.
TechItSat series is a series of several satellites coming out of NASA Ames, and it focuses around a deployable drag device called the ExoBrake that is used for targeted re-entry of small satellites into Earth's atmosphere. The CubeSat setup is pretty much the quickest way that we can get that turnaround and keep new iterations coming.
All of the above. I'm excited, I'm eager, I'm nervous, I'm stressed about all of the different steps that go along. There have been a lot of ups and downs in the development of this satellite, getting through the different milestones, and today is obviously a huge milestone for us. It's not the last one, but it's a huge milestone.
The launch is the culmination of a lot of work, and years of work actually. So when we hand it over at integration, that is the farthest that we can take it. We take it from an idea to a product, if you will, to something that has been tested and built to the best of our ability, given the risk factors that we're willing to assume with stuff like that.
To see something that's been in the process for so many years finally coming to fruition and be able to launch is going to be a great feeling to kind of see it finally do its thing.
We are QPACE from UCF.
We are RADFXSat 2 from AMSAT.
We are TechItSat from NASA Ames.
Getting to space can be a problem when you're a small satellite. You're either grounded, waiting for a ride, or drifting in space for months before you get to your destination. But there is a solution. Air launch. Instead of launching a big rocket from the ground, you take a 35,000-foot shortcut straight towards the stratosphere. That's where you launch your rocket. You can fly smaller rockets more often to more orbits for less money. It's getting everybody's attention, but it's not a new concept. The first air launch happened way back in World War I, and for 100 years since, it's been a key part of some extraordinary projects. So what's new? Well, satellites for one. They caught up by scaling down. Small, cheap satellites mean more access to space, and demand has never been higher. It's a new era. The space economy of the future will rely heavily on small satellites, pushing the need for more dedicated launches. Imagine one satellite failing in your globe-spanning constellation. It'd be like, we need to launch a replacement and we need to launch now. Only air launch can do that. Why? Well, a few reasons. First, when you build a launch pad, cram it full of electronics, and set it on fire with a rocket engine, it takes a while to fix between launches. And to keep us safe back on Earth, under every launch is a no-go restricted zone. So if Weekend Warrior Willie finds himself sailing past that line, the whole mission could be scrubbed. This no-go box is smaller and farther from people when you launch from the air. Oh, and don't forget Mother Nature. Thankfully, the weather is better above the clouds. This can all cause congestion for ground launches, but not every mission can wait. Air launch can be more responsive, more flexible, and less disruptive. It's launch on demand, just like booking a flight. Now all you need to get to space is access to a runway and a dream. Wait, did I mention that it's an airplane that can launch your rocket to space from anywhere on the planet? Anywhere? That's huge, considering there are over 180 countries without easy access to a launch pad. They'll need to launch thousands of satellites to space in the next few years. Without air launch, the math doesn't add up. Soon, satellite makers and operators will be able to launch from anywhere at any time, and countries and businesses around the world will have access to space like never before. This is big. It's democratizing space. So the question is no longer, how am I going to get there? It's, where do I want to go?
Welcome back, everyone. What an incredible and historic day. We are all smiling so big underneath our masks that I'm sure our smiles can be seen from space. Everyone should be extremely proud of what we accomplished today. And I'd also like to give a shout out to our live stream production crew, our brand team, and my co-hosts, Chris and Alex. Alex, over to you to give more updates.
Thank you, Michael. What an amazing flight today. Just to recap, captive carry obviously was fantastic, and like we have done before. But then we got PST ignition, main engine start, through the most stressing part of the trajectory through stage 1, and then we got to separation, which was clean, and then we got to our stage 2. What an excellent burn! And then now we're trying to collect the data on our second burn for stage 2. But we actually have been able to confirm that stage 2 did ignite the second time at the right time and for the expected duration. So that is fantastic. Guidance, navigation, control right now are manually looking through some of the attitude parameters to confirm that the attitude was correct and that we got the right delta V as we expected. We were also able to confirm that the separation commands occurred as expected. So very good news, and that is very encouraging that we did deploy those satellites. Just to kind of add to that, for our customers, you will hear more from Jeff Kwan and his team soon as we have more information and better confirmation of those final orbits. Just really quick, I'm hearing a lot of good chatter in my ear, so I'm just really encouraged that we're going to hear some good stuff later today. All right, so I'm going to throw it over to Chris now.
Thanks, Alex. Kudos to the live stream team, obviously, and my co-hosts. As Dan had mentioned so eloquently, this is not our day job, but the live stream team that is behind the scenes and make us look good. Well, make most of us look good. I do the best that I can. And also a huge shout out to Alex, who, like he said, he's listening at the same time as giving a lot of his updates. I don't know how he does it. What's left to say? We achieved so much today. We've talked so much about our launch, but I also appreciated that a lot of people were able to touch on the larger mission of Virgin Orbit and how that affects humanity, if you will. So it's not just a huge step forward today for us as a company. It's a huge step forward for the aerospace industry as a whole. Rapid launch, being able to launch from pretty much anywhere on the globe, which is just unprecedented, and opening space for all. So we are super excited, and I'm getting a thumbs up for Alex here. So I'm going to say, once again, thank you so much. I'm going to throw back to Alex, and then he'll come back to me in a moment.
Hi, thanks for throwing it back to me, Chris. So like live while we're talking and I'm hearing the chatter in my ear, what I was hearing was a confirmation of that final orbit, just shy of exactly, I mean, within the requirements of our 500 by 500. We'll get the exact specifics of it, but meeting a requirement of getting to our target orbit, which is very good news. I think I'll throw it back to Chris now. Thank you for letting me give you that update, Chris. So back to you.
Thanks, Alex. That's perfect timing. So the bottom line is, we did it. We got our satellites to orbit. I don't know if there's much more to say, so we're going to end the live stream here. Thank you so much for joining us today. Historic moment for all of us, and we're super excited to see you on the next launch. Cheers.